much for being here with us tonight at Echo Base TV, where community happens. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight at Echo Base TV, where community happens.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Long time no see. I had a little EBN cast break there for a little while, but we are back. Happy Friday. Here with my brother Stone Cold Loki. John F. Trent, Mexican Ironman, is tied up with work stuff, so he won't be here. Coach was gonna maybe make it today. Who knows? Maybe he'll show up later in the show, but I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, how you guys doing?
Doing great. It's Friday. Trying to stay cool. Got a heat wave here in Virginia.
Oh man, it is freaking burning up here. I got the freaking AC cranked on 66, and it won't get below 72 in my house. In traffic, I literally just walked in the door like 10 minutes ago. Traffic right now is a nightmare. I guess holiday weekend. It is freaking bumper to bumper out there. So
I don't know anything about traffic. I stay in my house.
Loki knows about that traffic. He lives in a major city.
I'm glad John went first because I was still typing. I'm doing good. Just hit the gym today. Worked my absolute butt off. I'm tired. I'm sweaty. That's why I'm not on camera, guys, because you don't want to see all that right now. I hit the sled. I hit ab crunches. I hit medicine ball, rubber bands, you name it. I did it today, and the bike. So yeah,
the bike. I got that cardio.
Oh yeah.
You do your cardio before or after?
I do my cardio before, so I do 10 minutes on a bike before. Unless it's cardio day, then I do in just an hour of cardio. I'll just get on the bike and just go for an hour.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Mr. H, Nate, he's actually got me on a workout plan and has for the last month and a half. So yeah, I've been going too. I was going Monday through Friday, but then he changed my workout up like 3 weeks ago, I think. So I'm just going Monday through Thursday now. So, yep, hitting the gym. getting ready for summertime. But anyways, guys, real quick, there's 4 different ways you guys can support us here on the stream. EBN memberships, and membership stuff is going to be changing here soon, changing for the better for members. So stay tuned for that. Our Patreon page, where we post tons of content, full-blown reactions, full-blown episodes, movies, all that sort of stuff we cannot post over here. Then of course our brand new merch store that Coach has got set up, and then super chats where you guys can actually engage in the conversation. If there's a topic or something you guys want to hear us hit on, you guys can kind of become a part of the conversation through super chats. Now, this first topic of the day, John F. Trent actually covered this a little bit ago. This is the Stellar Blade patch that dropped, where you get a boss rush mode, and the uncensored outfits are back. And Paul Tassi over there at Forbes is not really happy about gamers winning. Hashtag
he's mad, but he doesn't know why he's mad, or he doesn't explain why he's mad.
I heard the original outfits that got censored are staying censored, but we're getting new outfits that are uncensored. But I don't know if that's right or not. So
it's what it looks like. I don't think they've changed anything from the day one patch outfit. So if you still have the physical edition and you didn't connect to the internet, you still have the original uncensored outfits. But if you did connect and you have the day one patch, I think those outfits have still been edited, but they've introduced new outfits with different color schemes that literally look almost exactly like the old outfits that do not have those changes to it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm not going to read this whole article. I'm just going to read a portion of this and then get into some other stuff. But I just went straight to the uncensored outfits post and just listen to what he says here, guys. Here we go. After months of complaints that Stellar Blade had been censored, presumably at Sony's behalf, in regard to 2 of Eve's outfits in particular, well, they've ended that dispute. Shift Up maintained that the on-disc outfits were not the intended final outcome for those outfits, so the tiny amount of extra fabric added was not out of censorship concerns. It was just a design choice, which I don't buy that at all. They did not satisfying a particular crowd who maintained this was purposefully censorship, something they believe was demanded by Sony for release, despite there being no evidence that this was the case. This resulted in a hashtag Free Stellar Blade social media campaign, mainly focused on the outfits, and that was started by
Grums.
Who was it?
Yeah,
Grums.
Mark Kern.
Yep. Now, Stellar Blade has released 2 outfits that are not patching or changing the old outfits, which still look the same, but they are variants with the censored bits removed. aka they are very revealing in the pelvis and chest regions, as apparently nature intended. Essentially, everyone who was upset about this is considering it a win, though some are still saying uncensor the original outfits. Like that even matters anymore with the release of these. You pick these up from Roxanne in the black market dealer. They cost 10 Bitcoin each and must be crafted. Still easy to acquire. There's one of the outfits right there. And Grum's actually put both of them on here. Those are the 2. And then you see here, he said, we did it. You did it. Hashtag Free Stellar Blade. Celebrates is Shift Up and Stellar Blade Uncensored Outfits. Thank you, everyone who participated in the 8-step plan in the petition. And then those are the outfits. So when
you got to go back to the Forbes article, because he really gets angry. At the bottom.
Yeah.
Right there, the bad part. There.
Yeah,
right
so
there.
right here, the bad part of this is that the culture war folks here have been rewarded for their frankly ridiculous campaign lambasting this game, the developers, Sony, everyone for the original outfit changes as some sort of conspiracy which did not exist. Well, that's debatable right there. So
he's lying.
Yeah.
It clearly existed because the outfits are unchanged on the discs, the physical discs that shipped. They only changed them in the day one patch if you connect it to the internet.
Yep. And that hard R graffiti is still there too.
Yeah, they changed that in the day one patch as well. I think it's not. I think it's still there. If you just have the physical disc.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, they even the devs even showed off the outfits and said these are the final outfits, and then when the day one patch came along, they were changed. Yeah. So even the devs kind of are caught in a, well, yeah, we did say these are the final outfits, but
yep,
right. And they said they were having internal discussions, whether that was with Sony, whether that was within Shift Up. They clearly said that they were having internal discussions with people.
Yep. And he goes on to say the outfits themselves are fine. Again, there are a dozen outfits, at least this revealing in the game. But this being a reward for this group and their behavior is not a great look. Oh, we don't want stuff to be censored when the developers designed the game that way. And everybody was like, man, that's
how they marketed it.
Yeah, they marketed it that way. And then it's going to get censored when everybody was buying into what they were selling. And then they kind of take that away. Maybe it's not a big deal for him or he doesn't see it that way. But for gamers who bought into the marketing for that, it is a big deal.
So my big issue with this here, obviously, is like, well, why? Why is it not a great look? He doesn't explain this at all. Why is this the bad part that gamers get a win, that consumers actually get what they were sold? Why is that bad? Like, he doesn't say why.
Well, that right there is everything wrong with reviewers today in gaming, is that they immediately take this corporate shill view. They're not gamers. They've never been gamers. They don't care. When he's like, I've maxed out even every pot, that's his little ego talking. He probably didn't even finish the game.
Yeah. And honestly, that outfit's not really that crazy. The skin suit is more revealing than this. Or this one. I mean, the skin suit's pretty much skin. And then of course you got the jiggle effects in there.
But these outfits are very similar to the ones that were changed. You had the Holiday Rabbit one, which is the red one. Mm-hmm. Looks very similar to that one. And then this one was like the cybernetic bondage. Yeah, I think, and it looks very similar to this one here.
Yeah, but with everything that's going on with this game and as many people that have backed this game and supported it, they're actually now talking about doing a sequel and a PC port. And when that comes to PC, there's going to be all kinds of crazy nude mods that they're going to put out there for this, just like they did with Final Fantasy VII Remake. Stay tuned.
Just to be clear, these are swimsuits. These two outfits are swimsuits too. Like, that's what they're described as.
Yep, but a win for gamers. Real quick, our brother Loki, who totally did not have to do that.
You didn't have to show that. You don't have to show that.
$10 super chat. Share out the stream. Make sure you like and subscribe. Yes, absolutely, guys. And then our good buddy Andy Masterson, who gives Loki a hail, gives us a hail. Welcome. Good to see you, Andy. Brother. I will actually be in Dallas, guys. If you guys are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, June 7th and 8th, and I'll actually be there with Andy, Gary Ambrosia, and Robert from DC's Wednesday night pop culture breakdown. And then, of course, tons of other people are going to be there. So if you guys are in the area that weekend, and it's Andy's birthday that weekend also, we're all going to be hanging out. Loki, if you're not doing anything, you should drive up that weekend.
I don't know if my kiddo's going to be with me yet, but if I am free, I'll totally get. That's the Dallas Expo?
Yeah, the Dallas Fan Expo.
I might be able to come up for the day. I might be able to do that and then just drive Saturday. Back.
Yeah. Yep. Just let me know. But something else that dropped, considering with the whole gaming thing, and John actually sent me this.
Yeah.
Rocksteady is apparently the developers of Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, transform Mr. Freeze into a non-binary Karen, they, them.
So I think they doubled down on this, obviously, right? Instead of scrapping this, they still released this. We know that they've lost at least $200 million on this game, but they're still pushing this stuff, even though it clearly lost them a ton of money. So it's not about losing the money, right? They're still pushing this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
if it was about losing money, you would think that like, oh, like you would think someone would have actually, with any kind of oversight, gone in and been like, what are we doing here? And said, absolutely not. But nope, this is what they're still doing.
Nick, you were on that DC fandom event we did like 3 years ago, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
The head editor at DC Comics at the time, and God help me, I can't remember his name right now. He stated,
Didio?
we cannot.
And Didio?
It may have been him, yeah. He said, we cannot promote the kind of change we need by creating new characters. We have to fundamentally alter the characters we have to promote the kind of change we need. They have been doing this for a while now, whether it was superhero, whether it's Superman getting it up the rump in prison, or Batman being whatever, non-binary, bisexual, whatever. They've been promoting this for years, and they've been pushing this for years. So I am not surprised at all that Warner Brothers would be like, oh no, go ahead. It's great. Promote change. Yay. Because they just don't know any better.
Yeah, this looks dumb. Learning the Law, who posted this, said, I predict this before the game's release, and the backlash was intense. They perceive femininity and female anatomy as threats to society. Now they've made a character transgender. Take note of Mrs. Free's chest. That's not a woman.
Is that supposed to be, who's Mrs. Freeze? Is that like is that an alternate universe, whatever the woman is, his like love interest, whose name I'm blanking on right now?
No, I think they're saying that that's Mr. Freeze transed into Mrs. Freeze. And
okay.
Yeah,
she'll come up and be like, it's a cold day in Gotham, bitches.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you now.
What the fuck is that? Modern gaming. Didn't Mr. Freeze die in Arkham Knight DLC? No way. What did they do to our Mr. Freeze? Rocksteady once was legendary. Sad to see them fall this far. And in the comments, just go on and on. Suicide Squad kill the franchise. You know, like Ubisoft is doing with Assassin's Creed and their black gay samurai. Rocksteady is developing themselves right into bankruptcy. I mean, gamers are not going to sign up for this crap at all.
They clearly aren't. I mean, $200 million loss was the last we heard from Warner Brothers Discovery on their latest financial report.
Yeah, it'll be free to play on PlayStation if you're a PlayStation Plus member, probably before the end of this year. It'll be one of the free to play games, probably.
Warner Brothers ponies up the money to keep the game live. So one of the things you got to think is when they're doing the budget for all this before the game even comes out, they've got so many years allocated to we can pay to keep the game live. If they're at a 200 million loss now, I can only imagine what they're going to be later. And if they don't find some way to make that up, this game is DOA as soon as that contract's up.
Yeah.
They'll just shut the servers down and that'll be the end of the game.
Yep. So question.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of pointing out. It's like, why are you continuing to do this? You're already losing, like, you've already lost hundreds of millions of dollars. Why would you continue to do this? You know, you're just going to be losing more money. Just cut your losses. Don't even put this out. All you're doing now is you're just damaging the DC brand even further.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. So do you guys see, well, like it seems like some Hollywood studios are starting to kind of lighten up on the wokeness of entertainment, and some even kind of move away from it a little bit. Do you guys see the gaming industry kind of catching on and being like, this isn't working? You know, how much money do you think that they need to lose before they're like, all right, we need to stop trying to push this agenda?
I'm not seeing it at all. I mean, it's being institutionalized. You look at Microsoft, they have a whole kind of, I don't even know. It's like numerous presentations, slides, everything about how they are institutionalizing woke ideology. You see that with Activision as well. Obviously, that is part of Microsoft now, but they have a whole like DE&I report, an ESG report, and everything about how they have like identity scores now. They literally rate their employees by, or excuse me, not identity, inclusion scores. They have a whole thing on that on their website where they're rating their employees. If you don't have if you don't meet your inclusion goals, they have inclusion goals as well. And if you don't meet those, you might not be getting the bonuses or the promotion that you probably might actually deserve based on the merit that you've done. So no, I don't think that a lot of these companies are realizing that. I remember a lot of these game development studios are owned by other big corporations, and they are part of kind of the BlackRock, Larry Fink force the agenda down the throat tactic.
Loki, do you see him making any change?
Nope. Look, when a company, okay, first of all, what John was just talking about, I'm pretty sure that's illegal to deny someone a promotion for not meeting a woke score with their work and all that BS. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. You can check for yourself, but they're pushing this as far as they can push it, as fast as they can push it. Just like I brought up earlier, it was not happening fast enough with new characters, with new IPs. So they had to fundamentally change older characters and older IPs to get this to go as fast as they want it. Remember, this is a multi-trillion-dollar business. That's what was sold to all these corporations and all these companies. Oh, if you pander and you do all this and you bend the knee and we have Rambos and puppy dogs for an entire month for our company, you're going to get trillions of dollars. That's all BS. These people aren't buying this crap. Gamers, hardcore old school gamers are not buying any of this crap. They don't want anything to do with it. I have got shelves and shelves of old PS2, PS3, PS4, Xbox 360 games sitting right here that I can go back and play. I don't have to buy anything new. Yep. I've got a backlog longer than most people ever even play games.
Yeah, same. I got so many PS3 and PS4 games that I had never finished and never ended up going all the way through. I mean, if I want to sit down and play a game, I have so much to choose from already just sitting here at the house.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Kern, Grums has also called for a 2-year moratorium for all gamers. Just don't buy any kind of AAA games because you have such a big backlog on whether that's Steam, whether you've got like physical copies, whether it's games you just want to go back and play because the games, for the most part, were superior. Whether it's the narrative, whether it's the actual gameplay, they're a little bit better than what you get now.
Yep, I'm the only game I'm planning on buying. Well, really, I'm gonna. There's 2 games I'm gonna buy this year, and one of them I really am dreading giving this studio any money, but I just really want to check this game out. But the first one is Stellar Blade. I am gonna get a physical copy of it, not install the patch, and play through that. But I'm still trying to finish Platinum Trophy Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which I have over 300 hours into already, which is game of the year for me by far. That game's freaking awesome. And then NCAA college football from EA, and I freaking hate EA. But I do want to check out this first iteration of college football because I'm a huge college football fan. But I won't buy another one after this one. Those days of buying Madden every single year were gone in like 2012 for me. What were you gonna say, Loki?
You've got the Kingdom Hearts, all of them coming out on Steam next month.
Oh, I did not know that. And those are some games I've not played.
So on supposedly, don't take this for 100% back, please. This is just what I have heard. Through the Epic Store, you had to link to your PSN account to play. Supposedly, you do. That is optional on Steam because of the trouble with Helldivers and the controversy surrounding that. They say that it hurt the sales for Ghost of Tsushima, which is brilliant on PC. It's absolutely brilliant. It is the exact same game as the director's cut on PS5, but it's still brilliant to be able to play it on PC and do it however you want to. It's supposed to not have to be logged into PSN and verify crap for Steam.
Oh,
so
nice. John shared something, but I'll wait till he gets back. What topic do you got for us today, Loki?
I've got, let me pull it up. There is a article. Usually we don't see a lot of mainstream news channels going after Disney. It's just one of those rare things you almost never see. And I came across this article that says parents to Disney were breaking up, and it's not us, it's you. And it goes into, once upon a time, the magical world of Disney was a refuge for parents, a reliable friend who entertained children and taught life lessons, not to be confused with the sometimes disturbing forays into sex education that today masquerade as a plot line. I love that. I absolutely, and this is a woman writing this too. She knocks it out of the freaking park. Forget those happy little songs, heroes, heroines, and talking animals. The House of Mouse decided dark, edgy, and troubled was just what children needed, because every parent wants to explain that monsters aren't under your bed. They're making entertainment. So it goes against, it talks about how Disney has gone against Walt's legacy. 21 completely filthy hidden sex references in the latest Disney movies. Disney loses spot as Hollywood's top grossing studio. 7 of 8 releases were stinkers in 2024. People started paying the high price of hubris. Pixar just laid off 14%. And I'll leave it to Valiant on the money crunchers, Mike and all them, to really delve into that, but lost more than $600 million.
Oof, man.
Yeah. And there's the big line from parents to Disney about the breakup. It's not us. It's you.
Yeah, 100%.
Talking about diversity, how diversity meant imagination and storytelling. He once said, by nature, I'm an experimenter. To this day, I don't believe in sequels. I can't follow popular cycles. I have to move on to new things. So with the success of Mickey, I was determined to diversify. That is absolutely, positively, this one statement by Walt right here goes against everything Disney stands for today. It goes against everything Disney stands for today. Because when he says diversify, he's not talking about, oh, well, I need to make these people a certain color, or I need to do this. He's talking about coming up with new ideas, new movies, new things to dazzle the mind and imagination with.
Yeah.
He's not talking about, well, we're going to take Snow White and we're going to remake it, which they go into Rachel Ziegler.
He does kind of remake Snow White, right? It's the original fairy tale, the Grimm fairy tale, right?
He does, but it's more of he's making it in his way. He does the same thing with Sleeping Beauty and all that, but it's the first time they've ever been on screen before.
He does it with Mary Poppins too. Yeah.
So he goes into Snow White with Rachel Ziegler and the progressive makeover. And the quote, I totally forgot she says it. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. Really not. This isn't really about a love story at all. It's about her wonderful inner journey to find her true self.
Did you guys notice that Iger didn't mention that film was coming out next year, even though that's when they said it was going to in the latest earnings report?
Oh, yeah. They haven't. There's been literally no mention or talk about that film at all.
Yeah.
Like nowhere.
So they bring up the fact that Disney has pledged, I didn't know this either, 50% of their regular and recurring characters across the Disney universe will come from underrepresented groups.
So this is actually being challenged in the courts right now. I think there is a EEOC complaint that has been filed by America First Legal regarding their hiring practices, because it's not just characters, right? It's obviously the actors that are going to be playing those characters. And this is something that's been on their Reimagine Tomorrow website. I've covered this like extensively.
Film Threat covered this too. They actually
Yeah.
got actual forms from that, like people had to fill out that was asking all these personal racial gender questions and stuff.
That's insanity. How can they get away with that?
Well, I mean, because they're the Walt Disney Company and they're one of the biggest entertainment companies on the planet. But they are, like I said, there has been an EEOC file or an EEOC complaint filed, and from what I understand, that is the first step in filing a lawsuit against the company for violating equal employment opportunity clause.
Yeah, they're 100% doing that.
And it's not just at Disney. I mean, obviously Prime Video has it too. They have, I know Film Threats covered this as well. I have too. You look at they have like a whole inclusion and diversity standards that they follow. All of these major companies have it. Warner Brothers has it as well. Warner Brothers, their chief of diversity has actually said on camera that they actively try and scrub people out of their company that are opposed to kind of these DEI standards, and they try and make them uncomfortable and try and get them to self-terminate as far as they quit the job so they can be removed from the company. And he says he actively tries to make them uncomfortable to try and do that. And that's one of the how they operate there at Warner Brothers Discovery. I mean, all of these major companies have these policies that are now being challenged in courts. And it looks like they're probably going to lose, because we have seen a number of court cases falling against this type of ideology. Obviously, you have the Harvard case with the students and how they were clearly discriminating in who they were accepting into the college. One of the big ones was this, I think it was the city of New York, or it might have been the state of New York, actually had to settle with a number of teachers that had filed a lawsuit against the city or the state. I don't remember which one, but they basically brought in this like new public school czar who wanted to get rid of like white toxicity and basically went about purging the school system of white teachers. And three women filed a lawsuit, and it got past the part where the city or the state tried to dismiss it. And what ended up happening is the city or the state had to settle. So we're seeing that. And then there was also a recent one too with a police officer in Texas, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to like transfer her to some kind of, I'm not super familiar with that one, but that was also kind of seemed to be against a lot of these DEI mandated policies. Because at the end of the day, like you said, Loki, they are illegal, and they've just been doing it because no one's actually been enforcing a lot of these laws or challenging them.
Do you think that once the dam breaks, there'll be a lot more lawsuits and going against this type of behavior?
Yeah, I think we're already kind of seeing it, right? I feel like there's more and more happening. This America First Legal seems to be really kind of charging ahead with a lot of this stuff. There's probably a lot of other cases moving forward as well. It does look like the Harvard Supreme Court case is pretty definitive on that. And I think the Supreme Court, I think there was a Supreme Court ruling on this police officer in Dallas too that has anti-DEI repercussions as well. So I do feel like the tide is shifting on this, especially in the legal front. And I think a lot of these companies are going to be in big trouble moving forward, because obviously they've been enacting these policies for a long time, and they could potentially face massive lawsuits, especially potential class action lawsuits where you might have multiple people suing them.
Well, I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Yeah, for sure.
But this hits them multiple times, and I'm not going to read this whole thing. It hits them multiple times hard because they said, I wonder if they include functional families and people of faith among those not seen and not heard. Nobody is more invisible in modern entertainment than a loving father and mother overcoming obstacles and working together on behalf of their children. This statement has never been more true.
Yeah. And do you guys remember in like the 80s and 90s, like Growing Pains, Family Matters, Who's the Boss, like all these like family shows and stuff that we would get, Full House, where there would be some sort of moral lesson to be learned at the end of each episode, you know, and of course you had Roseanne and so many other shows like that. And man, there is none of that these days.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen that. I mean, I watch a lot of reruns of Everybody Loves Raymond, and that's obviously supposed to be a Catholic family, but then they would actually go on and try and push a lot of this stuff too. And you did kind of even see it back then in the early 2000s. It just wasn't as like in your face, but they were obviously pushing like the gay marriage and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Roseanne obviously had like, she obviously was kind of portraying kind of like a working class union style family. So you saw some of her politics in that show as well. But it wasn't as like the slip. We hadn't gotten as far down the slippery slope, right? And it wasn't as just absolutely just vile and disgusting, which is what we're seeing now with a lot of the transgender stuff, and then even stuff now with where they're just clearly targeting children with a lot of this stuff.
Oh yeah,
and they're getting rid of actors. This isn't just the dwarves. Obviously, they removed all the dwarves from Snow White. They're not going to have dwarves in Snow White. Time Bandits.
They did put them back in. Remember, they released that that image that looks.
Oh,
like
did.
They released like a CGI of like they were going to CGI them after they got all this backlash, and they were said, "Oh, the dwarves are always there," and it was like, well, looks like you just are completely changing the entire film.
So they CG dwarves into the movie.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. But I think also like that's the speculation on why they delayed it a year so they could completely redo it. But then we haven't even heard anything from it, so it might be taking them a little bit longer to do that.
Well, I hope they use
released.
I hope they use real dwarves. Taika Waititi is redoing Time Bandits, and there's not one dwarf in Time Bandits. I don't know what their obsession is with getting rid of people of small stature, but they don't want dwarves. There could be a bunch, just don't hire the guy from Game of Thrones. He's a dick. Tyrion.
Tyrion Lannister. Yeah. I can't remember that actor's name.
Anyway, there's a lot in this article. Check it out. Yeah, Peter Dinklage. There's talk about them hiring sex offenders. There's talks about crackdowns where they've shut down child molestation rings in Florida and all kinds of crap that's gone on. Absolutely great article, and that's what I got for today.
Sweet. Yeah. So Loki was sharing that. John actually sent these, and I was looking at these, and this is pretty interesting. So, if you guys have not seen the Jennifer Lopez mech movie that's coming out on Netflix, apparently, I guess these mechs
called Atlas.
Yeah, Atlas. I guess they have pronouns now.
What?
We can't hear it. The volume's not coming through.
Now, is it an AI controlled mech or is it a mech someone controls?
I think it's an AI mech.
Oh, no, you put a person in there. That's kind of the whole point, is to have someone in the mech and using it and super powerful.
Unless there's like a twist, but all the trailers say that it seems to imply that it's an AI.
Let me back this up.
Oh, okay then. Wait, how did it know I wanted coffee? I'm sorry, but my pronouns are she and her, not it. Oh, okay then. Wait, how did it know I wanted?
Jeez, man.
Wow.
So cringe.
Her, not it.
So cringe and so evil too.
She
How did it know I wanted coffee?
her.
It's an AI, and AI doesn't care about any of that.
Not it.
Yeah.
Unless it's taught to care about something like that.
Yep. So apparently this is I didn't even know this was out on Netflix already. Did this just drop?
I think so. Yeah, I think it just came out.
So it's currently at 11% on Rotten Tomatoes based on 37 reviews. The Hollywood Reporter says it's another Netflix movie made to half watch while doing laundry. Wow.
Yeah, it just came out today.
Okay. Wow. And then, of course, the Hollywood Reporter has a whole article on it. And I guess they weren't too friendly to this thing. Now, when I saw the trailer, I was like I love Mech Warrior was one of my favorite games back in the day. I love
Robot Wars.
Yeah, I love.
Oh yeah, it's Robot Wars.
and what was the other one? The first person shooter, where you could jump in and out of the mech.
There's
came out on-
Gundam, but that's
No.
not probably.
It was God. What was the name of that game?
Are you talking about the one that was on Xbox only?
No, it was on PlayStation 2. There was two of them that came out. They came out with a sequel.
Titanfall is what.
Titanfall. That's
says.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not that old. I thought you were talking about like an older, like you're talking
like 90s.
Yeah, you're saying Mech Warrior. So I thought you were talking about a game from back then.
Yeah, Mech Warrior, and then the one that came out recently, not that long ago, Titanfall. Yeah, I love those games. So when I saw that they were doing like a mech movie, I was like, oh, sweet. This is probably going to be badass. And then I saw Jennifer Lopez was in it, and I saw the whole trailer, and I was like, oh, man, this is going to be so cringe. So freaking cringe. And then sure enough, Hollywood Reporter saying it's one of those movies that you can just have on in the background while you're doing laundry. And, of course, we got Simu Liu from the freaking, what was the Marvel
Shang-Chi.
Yeah, Shang-Chi, who's in it with her.
He was in Barbie too.
Yeah, and then of course we got Max with
Look at that.
pronouns now.
11% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes.
That is god awful. I don't know what these people are thinking.
Like that poster looks cool. I like the poster. It's like got like a Pacific Rim vibe to it.
Yeah,
but...
yeah. The poster looks cool, and the concept, I love the concept. Yeah, I might have to check this piece of crap out over the weekend. When I'm not doing nothing, when I'm just doing some stuff.
When you're doing your laundry.
Yeah. When I'm doing my laundry, folding towels, I'll just throw it on in the background and kind of half listen. But good Lord, man, they are just not going to stop with this pronoun stuff. It's just everywhere these days. I mean, you just can't escape it. They're just trying to normalize it, I think.
Oh, 100%. That's exactly what they're trying to do. I mean, they're doing everything that they can. I mean, the Walt Disney Company was literally involved in a legislative campaign to try and get a bill to be stopped that was banning the teaching of this stuff to kindergartners through third grade. Like these companies are actively trying to encourage this stuff in public schools too. I mean, it's absolutely sick. And then if you remember Bob Chapek, the former CEO of the Walt Disney Company, he says that his whole explanation originally for the reason why they weren't going to get involved was because they were just going to work around the bill anyways and try and indoctrinate children through their programming.
Yeah.
That's insanity.
Yep. I mean, literally, I don't know how parents these days can't at least consider thinking about homeschooling their kids nowadays.
Oh, I have absolutely zero intention of sending my kids to a public school.
Yeah.
They will not be going to a public school. I will do everything in my power to ensure that does not happen.
Oh, I don't blame you at all. It would either be homeschooling or private schooling for me if I had kids, for sure. Because it's just not the same. I mean, I came up in the public school system, but I mean, none of this kind of crap was going around, at all. I mean, we would get whippings at school if we acted up.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're a little bit older than me, but I went to Catholic school from kindergarten through 8th grade, and then went to a public high school. And obviously, there is like your gym class had like a sex education class, and they were starting to kind of teach some of this stuff when I was in public school. Obviously, it wasn't teaching like transgender stuff or trying to promote homosexuality or anything like that. It was just kind of trying to promote It was trying to promote promiscuity.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Which again, like goes to my point, like slippery slope and all that stuff, right?
Yeah. So last thing I want to hit on before we wrap up and just get y'all's thoughts, guys. The launch event of the century, guys. Launch event of the century.
Let's go!
Takes over Hollywood with less than 2 weeks away from the launch of the Acolyte. And here you got You know, even in this picture, the main plot, they're told that they already spoiled in the trailer. You see the young version of the twins, and then
Yep.
her who's playing both twins, one who's a dark side and one that's a light side.
I don't even know why they needed her if they have those other two. I mean, they're
Yeah,
like,
they're almost as tall as she is.
yeah.
But here's your diverse cast for the Acolyte that is going to be dropping, where we're going to be getting lightsaber whips, which I did order. So when I was doing research on this, apparently the lightsaber whip thing was mentioned in Marvel Comics Star Wars number 95 from the 80s. I ordered a copy of it. It'll be here. I'm going to see how true that is, if it's actually in there.
Of the comic.
Yeah, because I've never heard ever of a
There's
lightsaber
two.
whip.
There's two.
in Star
Okay.
Wars.
Okay. So in the EU, there's two. One of them was Darth Bane's apprentice. Darth Bane's one of his apprentices had a force whip. The second was Lumia, the Dark Lady of the Sith, who was trained by Darth Vader. She had a Cat of Nine Tails lightsaber whip. It had a cortosis woven thread with like cortosis hooks on it.
Mhm.
So it was like a longer version of a force whip. She fought Mara Jade. She fought Luke Skywalker. Luke killed her and beheaded her because he thought she killed Mara Jade. Luke went off on a total vengeance hunt. So Luke invented a lightsaber called a Shoto. And I say invented, he reinvented it. No one had ever seen one before. It's basically like a Yoda-sized lightsaber. And he did that because the only way you can defend against her style of fighting is with a small lightsaber and a regular size lightsaber. So you basically got a two-handed style, but one lightsaber is shorter than the other. That way you can whip it around that because it's cortosis. Your lightsaber's not going to cut through it. And you can pull it to you and you have another blade to stab with. It is in the EU books. It has been touched on in the comic books, but at the time the comics books weren't considered canon. So the only original canon back in the day was Darth Bane's apprentice and Lumia, the Dark Lady of the Sith, who also was an apprentice of Darth Vader.
I don't know who Giffany is. So
I think that's the character that he's talking about. There's like this woman in like some kind of battle suit here in number 95. She definitely has a lightsaber whip or some kind of energy whip, at least.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah.
And it's
I've
a Sith weapon. It's always been a Sith weapon. A lightsaber, a Jedi has never used a lightsaber whip before. It's always been a Sith.
Yeah, I've never heard of that ever. But I didn't read the comics or a lot of the EU books. But it just seems real gimmicky to me.
Perfect. I'm not an EU purist. Like I thought the whole
Yeah.
like gimmick for bringing Palpatine back. Obviously, that's from the EU. I didn't like it there. I didn't like it.
Yeah, Dark Empire. Which I have that. I have that run. The platinum edition of that run that my parents bought me off QVC. In the 90s.
Yeah. I've
and
got
Anthony
the comics
Daniels,
in the book.
yeah, Anthony Daniels signed the cover of one of them for me when I first met him. But yeah, it just seems real gimmicky. It's sort of like if you guys have seen the Bruce Lee lightsaber nunchucks video, it's Bruce Lee in a movie with nunchucks with lightsabers on the end of them. And so when he's sitting there doing it, it's like, wow, that looks badass, but it's gimmicky,
right?
For something like that, it's like, that's cool. But to actually be in Star Wars, like
a weapon for a more elegant age, I think is what Obi-Wan says or something like that,
and
right?
Soul Assassin nails it. Jedi forbid the use of the light whip, and they did that because it's an offensive weapon. It is not a defensive weapon. It is meant to completely rip a person apart. It is not built to defend. So there's no reason why a Jedi would use one, and it would have been forbidden by the Jedi Council to use one. They do not know what they're doing. They just saw, somebody had a light whip. Let's give it to this Jedi, blah, blah, blah. And they can use a light whip.
Yeah, it's what you use on slaves or cattle.
Yep. That's the issue that I ordered.
You got to switch it to go to the next page. There you go. She's there. If you go back, you can see it. She's got it in her hand.
Oh, let me go.
There's a if you scroll down, you can see her fighting, or you have to do all. If you got to go to the you got it on. If you go forward, you see her fighting Luke Skywalker.
Oh, the next page.
Well, if you have it on pages. I have it on I don't know what page it is. It's probably page 20.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, reading mode. Here we go. All pages.
There you go. Yeah.
Here we go.
And then you scroll down, you can see her fighting Luke with it.
Golly, I didn't even have to order this comic. I should have messaged you guys before. Or it was only like $7. It only cost me like $7.
It's towards the bottom. There you go, right there. Maybe up one more. There you go.
Oh,
yeah.
God, that looks weird. He gets a scar on the side of his face. Huh. Yeah.
Yeah. So it clearly doesn't work like a lightsaber because it doesn't rip through his face, right?
Mm-mm. So when I was doing some more reading on it, I heard that it's not as powerful as like a regular lightsaber. Is that true, Loki?
The one that Lumia had worked just like a regular lightsaber, but it did have extensions on it. Like I said, it had almost like cables that were weaved from cortosis that had hooks on them. So it was like a cat of nine tails with a lightsaber blade. It wasn't like that. It was more like what you see in the trailer. But obviously it's red because she's the Dark Lady of the Sith.
Right.
You know? So she's cybernetic like Vader, but not like totally like Vader.
Yeah, it looks like this chick's like kind of cybernetic.
Yeah, she's definitely got some robotic parts. I mean, she doesn't even have feet, it looks like. Or
that may even be her, and they just don't have the name. They changed the name. That might be something I'm forgetting because I know she went as something else. She was a TIE fighter pilot. She went after Luke after the destruction of the Death Star. He shot her down. Vader found her, rebuilt her, and she went after Luke again. There was some romance drama, but I don't care about any of that crap. So
I thought she had like the track people, like the feet that they give the track people now if they are amputees. Like that one guy who got arrested, but she clearly has feet. That was just stylistic.
It is Lumia, right?
Lumia,
here.
Yes.
So
this is Lumia, Dark Lady of the Sith. Yep. Vader rebuilt her and sent her after Luke, and Luke beats her again. But eventually, she trains Jason Solo in the ways of the Sith, and he becomes a Sith Lord. He kills Mara Jade, and Luke is informed that it was Lumia, not his little nephew, Jason, and goes after Lumia and cuts her freaking head off. So,
yeah, but this was all this stuff was separate canon from the movies. George never considered any of this stuff to be.
Well, this is Star Wars. This is
based off of the first film.
Yes,
Legends of the from the first movie.
Legends of the Force, I think, is where all the book stuff takes place. Not Legends as in Star Wars Legends, but I think it's Legends of the Force. It's the series of books it was. This is right before Disney got bought out. Or they got bought by Disney. Once Disney bought them, that whole series was scrapped and ended. But this was the Jedi at the height of their powers when they were that was the big last EU run, was setting up the Sith returning, Lumia killing Mara Jade, And these are books, not comics. So
Yeah. Donut Lord, which one is more stupid, lightsaber whip or Palpatine Returns? I'm probably gonna have
Palpatine
to go with
Returns.
Palpatine Returns.
Yeah.
I mean, he got thrown down that shaft. He got disintegrated. His essence, like, no.
they use that essence in the honestly, the book handles it a lot better than the movie, but they use that essence, like, oh, he had to travel all the way back to Bith where his clones were. And that's why it took so long for him to come back, because he couldn't just, he couldn't just warp there. So it took, a couple years for his essence to travel all the way from Endor, all the way to Bith, and then get into one of his clone bodies.
Yeah.
Still better than what they did in the movie.
Yeah. So
I still don't like the concept, but
yeah, I'm not really a fan either. But quick thoughts, guys. Expectations on the premiere of The Acolyte in less than 2 weeks on June 4th. Where do you see this thing going with this first 2 episode drop? With the general audience, anyways, because all of us and people on our side that's kind of been following all this stuff since the sale of Lucasfilm to Disney. I mean, we're all probably going to have the same opinion, more than likely, that it's utter trash. But as far as general audience, what do you think this is going to get accepted by them? Do you think you guys see this doing well on their side?
No, I think it's going to do worse than Ahsoka. It's going to be the worst Disney Plus show that Lucasfilm has produced. And then when Skeleton Crew comes out, that will be the worst one. I mean, they're just continuing the destruction of the Star Wars brand.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that.
Yep, I agree. I think this thing is going to be in the toilet. I think it'll probably have the worst ratings of any. But the thing is, they're going to like spin it and be like, the most watched Star Wars show ever on Disney Plus with the first 2 episodes of premiere. But I guarantee you, if that is the case, it's going to be the first 2 episodes of people hate watching this to just roast on this thing, because basically that's what Coach and I are doing. We're just going to be roasting this thing, having fun roasting it, but we're also not going to be watching it on Disney Plus, so they're not going to be getting a view from us on there because we'll watch it some other way. We'll be creative with our methods.
Luis nails it. There's a lot of people don't even know it's coming out. They don't care anymore.
No.
Yeah. People have totally tuned out. I haven't really seen any kind of hype on it on social media at all.
Nope.
Anytime I do a Star Wars video, I mean, I know my channel is kind of primarily targeted towards video games now, but even when I do a Star Wars video, it just no one watches it. Just dies on the vine.
Oh, and we see it in our Star Wars videos especially over the past 9 months or so. Our viewership is down. I mean, there's more and more people that are just there's nothing about Star Wars to be excited about right now. Nothing coming down. I mean, we got the Acolyte, we got Skeleton Crew. The Rey movie just got moved. I saw the other day it got bumped up to 2027.
The Rey movie is even happening.
Yeah, if it even happens. And then, of course, apparently the Lando thing is still being worked on, allegedly.
With the Deadpool guy who plays like Miles's uncle or whatever.
Yes. I can't remember his name.
I can see him.
But yeah, I mean, there's nothing coming down the pipeline for Star Wars to be excited about. Not one single thing for OG fans of George Lucas Star Wars. Absolutely nothing.
There was only the hint of promise was like George might be coming back, but even then, I think a lot of people soured on him when he backed Bob Iger.
Oh yeah,
with the board and all that stuff that was going on. So
yeah. Yep, this is going to be a complete shit show, and I cannot wait. I'm going to have fun with it. But hell, that's another reason why me and Coach started hitting on other stuff on the channel, just because it's just Star Wars is so dead, man. I mean, and you can't just keep beating the same dead horse all the time. Like literally, we had a conversation. I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm just saying the same thing every single video, every single stream. I'm just saying the same thing.
You guys are worth more than just Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
And I got so many other things I'm interested in talking about.
Yeah, I also think that what you're talking about there too. I mean, we're seeing Georgie Girl here says I see it talked about in the Instagram Star Wars circles, but reception goes from uninterest to people who plan on giving it a shot. So even outside of kind of like the main, I guess, social media platforms, there's still kind of like uninterest in it.
Yeah.
As far as what we're hearing from the show, I just did an article over on thatparkplace.com. I think it was yesterday, and Amanda Stenberg is talking about how they're going to be like redefining the Force and how they're adapting all of these like weirdo Force rules that they implemented in the High Republic and stuff like that. So it's just like they're just doing more destruction to the universe, and Tolkien talks about this in On Fairy Stories. If you don't keep your internal rules consistent, people literally like they are forced out. They are pushed out of their immersion. They aren't even able to condescend and kind of suspend their disbelief. All they are now seeing is this abortive product, and that's literally what Lucasfilm is doing. I think it happened with you, Nick, with Mando season. You and Coach with Mando season 3. I think it happened with a lot of people. With maybe Coach was still gave it a chance with Ahsoka. I think a lot of people like it happened with Ahsoka. A lot of people, obviously, it happened with The Last Jedi. It happened with Rise of Skywalker. But we haven't seen anything that they've come out with that allows you to actually immerse yourself back into the universe, because they just keep fundamentally changing the rules of the universe, and they're not internally consistent, and their stories are just absolute trash.
Yeah, terrible writing. Going into Ahsoka, I was like, I think, top end, I think this show could be decent. I think it could be decent. Because I liked Rosario Dawson in Mando season 2, the parts that she played Ahsoka in there. And so I was like, I think this has a shot at it being decent at least. And then, good God, we saw the show, and it was just like, oh.
Well, that's all Filoni trying to incorporate bullshit from the Filoni-verse.
Yeah.
That is all Filoni up his own butt, smelling his own farts and being like, hey, I wear a cowboy hat too, yeehaw.
Yeah.
Well, it also like fundamentally moves away from kind of like the truth that Star Wars kind of did kind of hint at, right? Instead, they're doing all this like yin yang stuff and like Force needs to be in balance and all this stuff. And then people are like, oh, well, George obviously influenced the Mortis arc. But like, if you watch that Mortis arc, I mean, you go back and watch it again, it makes absolutely zero sense whatsoever. It's so conflicting. It's so contradictory. You have so many different ideas like in that, because you have the idea that like there's obviously the dark side is a which I think is the original interpretation. The dark side is a corruption of the light side. You have to remove it in order to bring balance to the Force. And then at the same time, it's like talking about like, oh, you need to have like the dark side and the light side in balance, and then they're equal things. And it's just like they don't really understand what exactly they're trying to do, and they have all these kind of contradictory philosophical musings, and all of it just comes across as like gobbledygook and just turns people off. Even if they don't like are thinking about it at a high level, I think you subconsciously realize like, what in the world is even happening here? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Oh, it is so bad. Oh, it is so bad. But it is what it is. We got less than 2 weeks, and like I said, we're gonna have fun roasting it. But anyways, guys, Loki, tell everybody what you got coming up, where they can find you, and then John, you let everybody know after Loki goes.
Oh, we got a late show coming up tonight.
Oh, yeah, Friday night.
Yeah, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time on my channel, Loki's Mornings of Mischief. Come hang out. We just kind of chill last couple hours of the night, and then go. And some of us go off in a drunken haze, but most of us stay sober the whole time and just trying to have a good time. So, we've got the morning shows all next week. I will be at the Pasadena Convention Center tomorrow.
Yeah, Retropalooza. Yeah,
from 10 until about 2 or 3.
Yep.
So I will be walking around the floor looking for goodbyes and
If you see Jay
nothing.
and Tim, tell them I said hey.
I will. I definitely will. I know the big boy is supposed to be there, but
Oh, Boogie.
yeah, Boogie's
Yeah.
supposed to be there. So we'll
Is
see.
Eric going with you?
No, it's just gonna be me. One of my buddies that I haven't seen in like 20 years is gonna meet me up there. So
Is 24/7 gonna go?
no. Unless he's getting there on his own. I know I've got to leave here at like 7:30 so I can get there.
Sweet. Yeah. I am going to I'm gonna miss it. But my car's actually in the shop. All right, John, what do you got coming up?
Yeah, so constantly putting up articles over on thatparkplace.com where I'm the editor-in-chief at. I think we actually had a really good one published today from author Isaac Young. He has a really good, interesting perspective on Indiana Jones and the first 3 original films, and maybe how they could have been a little bit better. So I thought that was really good. Check that out if you dare to. And then obviously I run the Trent Report here on YouTube, obviously putting up videos pretty much every single day. We got some really good stuff up there already. Obviously, Nick covered the Paul Tassi stuff, but I got that one.
Yeah.
We also got a really good one on this Marvel's Wolverine writer. She's like an Insomniac associate narrative director, and she's basically saying that they need to pull every lever to push the LGBTQ agenda in video games. So yeah. So that was probably one of my favorite videos I've done on the channel so far. So if you want to check that out, do that. And then I also run a stock car racing channel, and there's like tons of stuff happening this weekend. You've got the Indy 500. Kyle Larson is trying to pull a double. He's going to try and race the Indy 500 and win it. And I think he might have a good opportunity to win it. He's got in qualifying, he was one of the top 6 fastest cars out there for a guy who's never driven an Indy car. So it's impressive, very impressive. Shows that he is one of the best stock car drivers. I guess IndyCar isn't really a stock car driver, but he's one of the best drivers on the planet. And then he's going to try and, after the Indy 500 is over, he's going to fly out to Charlotte or down to Charlotte and race in the Coca-Cola 600 for Memorial Day weekend. And then my favorite stock car racing is Super Dirt Late Models, and their big race is the Show Me 100. And that's for the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. They're in, I think it's Missouri at Lucas Oil Speedway. So got coverage on that happening too. So lots of stuff happening on both the channels this weekend.
What is that Camelot guy that drives the Cyber Frog EVS? Is that NASCAR that he's in?
Yeah, it is NASCAR. He races in the ARCA series, which is like it's a, I don't know how to describe it. It's like a, you know how like MLB has like the developmental leagues or whatever they're called.
Oh yeah, like minor leagues.
The minor leagues, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a minor league for stock car racers. So usually it's usually a lot for like it's usually for like teenagers and things like that are trying up and coming. They're moving up out of like maybe late model stocks or their typical short tracks or things like that, and they move into like the ARCA. So you're in a little bit different car. You're able to race on some of the bigger tracks that NASCAR goes to, such as Daytona, Talladega, etc. And it's kind of basically so you can get used to those tracks, get time behind the wheel, and compete against other people. And there's usually a mix too. I mean, there's some older guys that's all they do is they race ARCA, and that's kind of where they're at because it's a little bit cheaper to get into than maybe the Truck Series or the NASCAR Xfinity Series, because that's usually where you go after ARCA if you are moving up. Because some guys they just stay in ARCA, and that's where they're happy to be at. But the series has had a little bit of criticisms over the past because it's kind of a lot of inexperienced guys, and they end up wrecking each other a lot. So. But it's also created some really good rivalries. Ty Gibbs, Corey Heim, 2 of the best up and coming drivers. Ty Gibbs is already in the Cup Series now, and Corey Heim probably will be up there shortly. He's racing in Xfinity and Truck Series this year. So it's fun. You get to see some of the younger guys who are going to probably be NASCAR Cup Series stars in the future. And I think they race usually on Fridays, like before the other series race.
All right, let's see here. We had Olaf send in member chat. Member for 33 months. Hell, Olaf, the mod of mods. Hey, guys, great stream. Have a good weekend. We are Echo-based network. I was like,
Rurbin.
I was like, I don't know what word that is. But guys, that is going to do it for today's show. I want to thank Stone Cold Loki and John Trent for being here, and thanks to Mexican Ironman for not showing up and doing work. But we will see you guys next Friday, where I think Coach will be joining us next Friday as well. So that'll be a fun show. But like we always say here, we are Echo-based network, guys, and we'll see y'all next week. Bye, guys.
Later, everybody.
See ya.
Coach and Nick from Echo-based Network, thank you so much for being here with us tonight at Echo-based TV, where community happens.